This brownie recipe from Violet Bakery in London uses cocoa powder for depth, melted chocolate for roundness, and then rye flour just for that little something extra special. First thing you have to do is melt the chocolate. And the best way to do that is to use a double boiler. But if you don't have a double boiler, you can also just use a pot and a bowl. So in this pot, I have 1 inch of steaming water. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the bowl on top, and the steam is going to heat the bowl and melt the chocolate. Yes, you can melt your chocolate in the microwave, but it's so annoying because you have to take the bowl out every 15 seconds and give it a stir. Otherwise, it might get too hot in spots. With a double boiler, you can just control it. You're stirring it the whole time, and I think that it's just easier in the long run. To get the deepest, richest chocolate flavor, you want to use a dark chocolate that has a very high cocoa percentage. So when you're buying the chocolate, look for something that says 60% or 70% cocoa solids, and that means there's more chocolate than sugar. That is beautiful. Okay, so you know how I'm going to cheat this recipe? Instead of mixing all the dry ingredients together in a bowl and then adding them to the wet ingredients, I'm just going to add them directly to the wet ingredients. The secret is add the flour last, and that way you're only going to mix it a little bit and you're not going to overwork the glutens. It works perfectly. Dark chocolate works really well with rye flour because they're both very intense flavors, and that way neither one dominates the other. They just work well together. Now is the part where I find my small child and give her this, because otherwise I will eat it by myself. So these days it's de rigueur to add a flaky sea salt on top of your brownies. But the fact is, it actually does something. It really makes that chocolate flavor just pop. It can be really hard to get your brownies perfectly done. There's a tendency to either overbake them or to underbake them, but what you're looking for is the wobble. You want it to be solid, but you want it to wobble. So you want to be able to see the center, just the very center, shake a little bit. You'll feel solid on your fingers, and then when you test it with a toothpick, it's gonna come out looking wet, but that is okay. That means that they're gonna be moist and tender and not dry. I love this recipe because using rye flour in brownies is no harder than using all-purpose flour, but it adds so much more.